Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon's Wealth Creation Show. And today we are going to be covering efficiency improving strategies. So this is a good one. And I know you'll like this, Jim, because you like strategies and processes and
Oh,
bringing.
oh my God. Strategy and efficiency and improving. The three words in my vocabulary, which are just, my brain fizzes.
Yeah,
It's sheer delight talking about things like this. Efficiency, improving strategies. Just that phrase gets me a bit fired up.
yeah. Good. So, I mean, I think everybody's got that never-ending kind of to-do list, and they get constant interruptions, and they've got maybe a mountain of emails to get through, and these are just a few of the things, or the many challenges that people in this kind of modern day and their working life and things face. So, improving and being more efficient and having strategies in place is something that is really paramount and kind of alleviating that stress and,
Yeah.
and feeling overwhelmed.
This brings me back to the analogy I remember here. Okay, imagine if you had £64,800 every single day,
Hmm.
and you had to get rid of that £64,800 every single day, or at the end of the day you lose it, it resets to zero. But next day you get another
Yeah,
£68,400, and that happens every single day. Would you work on a way to make use of all that money that came in?
you would try your best. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. We have 68,400 seconds in the day. How many people actually look at that and think to themselves, and they'll not, the reset at the end of the day, by the way, and you get 68,400 seconds
Yeah.
at the next day as well. So how many people actually look at that and think to themselves, I need to make more productive use of my time? Because do you think Warren Buffett, Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk
Steve Jobs.
make more use of their 68,400 seconds a day than we do?
Of
You
course they
bet
do.
they do. Of
Yeah.
course they do. So this is the key here. It's about making sure you understand the value of your time. Your time is more valuable than the money, by the way.
Hmm.
It always is. You never get to your deathbed and think to yourself, I wish I had more money. What will you say?
Wish I had more time.
Absolutely. And yet we squander time like it's in abundance. But what we just talked about the now is now in the past. It's gone. The past is in the past and there's no future in it. So we need to look forward to the future, but we also need to remember that today is the present. And the realize it's called a present, the realization that it's called a present is
Yeah.
because it's a gift, a
Yeah.
present. Today is a gift that you have, and tomorrow that gift will now be gone. But the great thing about tomorrow is you'll have that gift all over again in a different form, but you'll still have 68,400 seconds to use. How well are you going to use it? How efficiently are you going to use it? And how are you going to improve your strategies to improve the added value that you can offer to yourself or to someone else?
Yeah.
Because we all know people that are, we know people are accountants, but some accountants get paid a lot more than other accountants, don't they?
Hmm. Yeah.
So what determines that? It's their skill and expertise.
Yeah. What they do. Yeah.
We all know people are solicitors, but some solicitors get paid more than others. Some people are doctors, some people are surgeons, some get paid more than others. Some people are runners, but some runners and athletes get paid more than other runners, don't they? Because
Mhm.
they're the elite and they get sponsorship, the added value. The top 1% in each industry earns significantly more than the 99% that are behind them. That's an amazing statistic when you think about it.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
So what does that tell you about expertise? What does that tell you about specialization? What does that tell you about what you should be doing? And this is why you want to talk about this, Richard, about efficiency. This is
Yeah.
why I want to talk about it. Because efficiency for me is everything. I've got a track record of this. Coming into every single job I came into, and I took it from 5 days a week, probably more actually, to 2.5 days a week.
Yeah.
So basically took the same amount of workload and actually made it 2.5 days a week rather than 5 days a week work. I did at one point get taken aside by the rest of the people in my department in Standard Life in Edinburgh. And they gave me the Jim, could you slow down, please? Why? Because you're
Slow,
showing us all up. You're getting
slow
the same
down and
amount of
make me
workload
look
as us.
bad.
And you're literally finish your
Yeah.
workload in a couple of days, whereas we take a whole week to do it. And you're showing us up as a result of that. That's why that's why. But then when you think about where they are now, I mean, most of them will probably still be working there or in similar type jobs.
Yeah.
But then I'm the person that's retired and financially free. What does that tell you? Success leaves clues.
Yeah, definitely. And efficiency is where it all comes down to. And I mean, it is one of the essential keys to surviving and indeed thriving in what you
Yeah.
do and in your work environment and things and in your in any capacity really. But many mistake efficiency for working faster and harder. But it's not all about the overtime and the multitasking and things. It's about finding ways to really improve the flow and better manage your time and resources to really boost that quality that you're putting out there,
Yeah.
rather than trying to do things all at at such a fast pace and get everything done and across the line. It's about finding the most time and cost effective way of doing things. And like you say, Jim, you obviously changed that from a 5, 6, sometimes even a 7 day working week to 2.5 days a week at that time, because you put systems and processes and made things more efficient and streamlined.
Look at my buy-to-let business. When I was
Yeah,
working as a financial controller, stroke financial director in
yeah,
industry and manufacturing, I literally worked solid. I was working like 160 hours a week. I never slept. I was working middle of the night, middle of the morning, anytime I can get extra work in to get a job done. And yet at the same time, I was running a buy-to-let business. At the same time, it earned more money than what I was working at in industry and created more wealth than any job would ever create in 1 day a week. That's all it was taking. 1 day a week, as opposed to a full-time job.
so it'd be
And
fair
people
to
can actually
say.
go in the status. I mean, literally, I was just a property investor and or stroke landlord. That's it.
Mhm.
But it was the glamour. People, oh well, what do you do? Oh well, I'm a financial controller, financial director, and manufacturing. Oh, that's great.
It was the
What do
title.
you do? What do you do? Oh, I'm a landlord. All right, okay then, big deal. Computer says no. You know what I mean? But that's how
Yeah,
people look at that.
yeah,
They get status. They get they get a fit of status. You know, it's like, oh, I can't do anything. And I noticed this in industry as well. The fit of status is like people used to say, it's like, oh, I'll come and work with you, and it's like, well, we can only pay this amount. Yeah, that's fine, but can you call me a sales director? Why? Oh, I just, you know,
want the title
I was a sales director before, so I don't really want to. I don't want to go down.
because they'll
But
see it as a
so
demotion, really.
they'll accept a lot less pay, but they just want the title. They want the status. And I'm like, status does not pay the bills.
No.
Status doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't do anything other than make you look good. This is like the Instagram effect, isn't it?
Mhm.
You look
Yeah.
at Instagram, and Instagram is just for people that want to look good. That's it. Instagram really doesn't do anything other than boast, as
Mhm.
far as I'm concerned. And you know, that's just status just doesn't pay the bills. And that's all I could really say on it. So let's get on with this and let's
Yeah.
talk about these things about how what does it mean to work efficiently?
Yeah.
What factors affect efficiency? And you know, let's dive into these factors so people
Okay.
can understand what's going on here.
Well, I think we're already touching on what it really means to work efficiently, and obviously it is commonly misunderstood, and often people think that it means to work that harder and faster and a lot longer as well.
Yeah,
However, as you've just demonstrated there, Jim, efficiency is actually about being a lot more strategic with your time and
absolutely.
resources and working a lot smarter, not harder. And that might sound totally alien to some people, but it's true, because they think the harder you slog at it and the more hours you put in, it's not. I mean, if you could
Nope.
really strategically think about a smarter way to do things, then you'll find that you'll get a lot better results with a lot less input.
If
And it's a
you're putting in more hours, if you're putting in more hours and it's smarter, yes, you're leveraging your position because you're
yeah,
wanting to get to wherever it is your destination quicker. But if you're putting more hours, knowing damn fine that you could actually make that more efficient, then that's just stupidity as far as I'm concerned.
I think in the beginning of anyone's journey, they'll always put in a lot more time and effort and hours and things. But once they are kind of well established in whatever they're doing, they start to then see the bigger picture and think, right, okay, I could do this a lot more efficiently. And you know, and obviously there's that progression that will happen. And then really eventually you'll maximize what you're outputting with minimizing the work hours and the effort that you
Mm-hmm.
put in, because you'll bring other people in and you've got different strategies and processes and things in place, because then you've got a better grasp on what you're actually doing. So I think in addition to prioritizing tasks and managing your time, working efficiently also involves really leveraging things like technology. Do you know, look how we've come in our industry with technology. I mean, maybe not other agents things, but us.
Yeah.
And to really automate the mundane things and improve and collaborate with a team. And like we say, rising tide lifts all ships. And somebody that tries to make everything revolve around themselves, they're never going to get anywhere fast unless they've got other people around them working together. That's a big thing for me, and indeed yourself, Jim. We work as a team.
Yeah, I know I'm going to say an analogy and everyone will go, oh. Yeah, together everyone achieves more. Team.
Yeah, yeah,
Together everyone achieves more.
yeah,
TEAM. Team. And here's a classic example about another one. There's no I in team.
hmm
And it's true. It's like if you're just doing everything as an island yourself, yeah, you could be efficient. And I managed to do that. And I managed to be a millionaire doing that. You know, I didn't, but I still, but then when I think about it, I did have a team round about me, but they were all people that helped, subcontractors. I never really had anybody employed with me. I just had subcontractors. And traditionally, now anyway, it's like, you know, you do all my lettings from all my properties and my management and everything like that. And I just make the buying decisions now
yeah,
for what portfolios I would buy and what properties I'm going to buy. But when you think about the logic of that, I don't employ anybody directly in these companies that I've got my property portfolios in. So that's easy. That's scale. That
yeah,
you could scale easily with that. And that's how you could be efficient, because then you're only paying for the resource that you need rather than the resource that you're having to pay even though you don't need it. We talked about that recently about a subcontractor we're using. We want to give
yeah,
them notice, and it's like, because they're not, we're paying them a certain amount every single month, like a retainer. But the reality is, it's like we don't need them really, because we can bring it in house, because we'll
yeah,
have someone it could bolt onto as a result, because we'll have new people in that
yeah,
in our organization. So that is how you become efficient in terms of what you're doing. It's the same way when it comes to Facebook strategies. When you come
yeah,
to a Facebook strategy and you're building a campaign, you want to make sure your cost per view or cost per click is going to be as minimal as possible. I'm at 1 and 2 pence still on Facebook cost per
yeah,
click. It's like, and cost per view. And everybody's like, wow. And they're all hitting YouTube and it's costing an absolute fortune. They're hitting
hmm
Google and it's costing an absolute fortune. And it's like, Facebook's where it is. Everybody's on Facebook. The
Everybody's on.
majority of the world's population is sitting on Facebook.
Yeah, you've got that audience right there in front of you
Aye.
to take advantage of. Yeah.
So it's making it more efficient. I've got no, I mean, we're on TikTok just now,
I
and I've
just
really
going to
got
say,
no desire to be on TikTok. But you know, we go on there now and again just as experimental to see how we get on. But TikTok doesn't faze me at all. It's no up nor down. If somebody wants to come on TikTok and they want to learn how to create a huge amount of wealth over a short period of time, then feel free. You know,
yeah,
just go into the YouTube channel though, and you'll see all the back catalogue of all the wealth creation shows we've done. And this is just one of them. And once this is finished on this live on TikTok, that'll be it finished.
yeah,
You'll never
goes.
see that again. It's gone. It's never kept in historical. It's never kept on TikTok itself. It's just a live broadcast. So I'm always surprised why there's not more people on there. Because if I was learning from a multi-millionaire at this point in time, I would be popcorn out and sitting and writing notes
Pen and
and
paper.
taking
I was
notes
just
and
going to
everything, pen
say,
and
yeah,
paper and everything. And that's the type of things I do. But hey, 95% of people will be broke continued working, or they'll never make it to retirement. That's the statistic. 5% will be, 4% of them will be rich, and 1% of them will be wealthy. Wealthy. Wealth is where you want to be. Create wealth. Wealth creation is what provides income, not the other way around. Income doesn't provide wealth creation. Wealth creation provides income, and you do not chop down the tree that bears the fruit.
I think that's where maybe the misconception is with people. They think about wealth as being rich. So they think the income, you need a lot of income and a lot of money to be wealthy. And
I make 150,000 a year. I'm wealthy. No, you're not. You're broke at a different level.
Yeah. You're eating steak and chips instead of
If you've got assets, and that's wealthy. If you've got assets, but assets more than likely it produce income as a result, then that is wealth, because it's intrinsic value locked in an asset, something that's tangible that you can touch. You got crypto, you're gambling, by the way.
yeah.
Let's be honest. Yeah, it's taking a gamble. I was actually on a SaaS training with Kevin Whelan, and we were talking about SaaS, and somebody goes, "Oh, I'm going to maybe invest 10% of my portfolio in crypto," and I just like, I hate to keep my mouth shut. It's like I'm just coming on this for the first time. Keep your mouth shut, Jim. Don't say anything controversial. It's like, because I was like, "What are you doing?" It's like you're playing with your future.
Did you not say anything?
No.
Well, I'm surprised you're able to hold back.
Listen, Richard, I'm not here to tell anyone to do anything. I'm only here to give my opinion. And as I said, it's my opinion. You don't need to listen to it if you don't want to. But success leaves clues. And if I'm where I am and wherever you are, I tell you what, if you've got more wealth than I have, give me a call or contact me, and I'll listen to you, and I'll start learning from you, because I tell you what, I want to get to that next level then, if that's the case. And you are that next level if you're listening to this and you are wealthier than me. And that's fine. I'll listen to you every day, but I'll listen to other people as well who give me strategies in order to increase my wealth and become efficient at what I'm doing. So what factors are we looking for to become efficient? What factors did this take into account?
So
what about organization then?
Yeah, so people watching this might think, do you know, I've tried to be efficient and it's never worked out, and that's what we're trying to cover today is those efficiency improving strategies, and we're going to run through a few of them today, and like organization, planning, prioritizing, time management, and technology as well, because obviously it's a big part of what we do in our modern day lives. But organization, to start off with, Jim, I mean, being organized is such a critical component of achieving efficiency. You know, managing your work files, working through your emails, and prioritizing, you could really improve your workflow and help avoid mistakes as well when you do things efficiently, and not trying to do things so quickly. I've fall foul to that in the past, you know, and as you say, Jim, slow down to speed up and be more efficient. And it really ensures that you're able to access the proper and relevant information if you're more organized and have that approach to things. And I'm sure, obviously, you'll agree with that, Jim.
For me personally, organization is key and fundamental. If you're not organized, then it's chaos as far as I'm concerned. I'm a bit of a black or white person. It's like there's no grey in between with me. I tend to see the world in systems and processes. So I tend to see things, everything in a place for everything, in order to make it work properly. And the classic formula of organization is McDonald's.
Yeah.
It's completely ergonomically engineered to be as efficient as possible in delivering the burger and the chips and whatever else that anybody asks for. That is, they've engineered every single tiny minute waste of time out of that process. And that's how McDonald's do it. Unfortunately, you've got human error, which causes, the slowdown in terms of what you do. But they sat there, the McDonald's brothers, you saw the film The Founder, if you've watched it, and they sat there and engineered it and goes, let's sit out in the middle of nowhere and then engineer everything. So when I move here, you move there, he moves there, and she moves there, he moves there. And then we take this and it puts 6 dobs of, tomato sauce on the thing, and then it puts the 2 gherkins on, and it puts the lettuce on, and then it puts the the tomato
Wow.
on top of that, and then they put the wee sprinkle onions, and it all goes in systematic order, and it's actually delivered exactly the same everywhere. So if you go to McDonald's anywhere else in the world, it's exactly the same delivery. So you know what you're getting. What does McDonald's sell?
I know what they do, but property.
Yeah, but they sell happiness.
Yeah, well, that's their slogan. Yeah.
Yeah, McDonald's sell happiness. They don't sell burgers. They sell happiness. What does Red Bull sell?
Wings.
Success. Yeah.
Yeah.
Results. That's what they sell. That's what a brand is, and that comes back to things like your organisation, and also onto what you said originally was part of that was planning. If
Yeah.
you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah.
Definitely. Every single time. It's like, why did that not happen? Well, you weren't organised and you hadn't planned it. That's it in a nutshell. You just left it to chance. It's like, oh well, if it happens, it happens. And then the next minute, it's like, oh no, it's oh, I'm about half an hour late. I better get moving. Well, you should have put it in your diary, and you should have been more organised, and you should have planned. Exactly. I feel like I'm at school.
Do you know? And some people watching might think, "God, this is simple stuff," but it's not that common to a lot of people, and that's where they fall foul. It's at the fundamental, simple things at the original organising and planning stage.
The
People,
world is full of educated idiots and people that are just broke at a different level. That's really what it comes down to. And that seems to be the fundamental problem. And the thing about, all the things that come with it and all the preconceived ideas that people have about how the world should work is what holds them back from seeing any opportunities to follow, because that doesn't fit their paradigm and their world. They're the way the world works for them. You have to be open to that. Hence the reason why I talk a lot about reading the right books and learning from the right people, because then that's what makes it better for you and gets you to the next level, about whatever that level is you want to get. You could have anything in life you want to get. You've just got to work on a way to get it. And by the way, you can have any amount of money you ever want. You just have to learn how to attract that money towards you as a result. And sitting going, I'm with two joysticks. It's like, it doesn't work. It's like, it doesn't come, oh, abundance. No, that's a lot of shite.
yeah,
It's like, that doesn't do anything for you at all. You need to focus, and you need to plan, you need to prepare, and you need to also prioritize.
yeah, just that, and obviously prioritizing, and it's so true that obviously having that goal or your purpose in mind, and having that plan scheduled, and then really thinking about the process. Do you know, you really need to think about roadblocks ahead, and that's risk analysis as well. I mean, if we take property investment, we talk about risk analysis and thinking about what may occur further down the road with your investment, for say, and then trying to then obviously think in advance to solutions or ways to avoid that. And if you can't find a way around that, then maybe it's not the right plan or the right route to follow. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Some people actually their whole life spend their time climbing the ladder, only to find out it's leaning against the wrong wall.
Yeah.
And primarily the reason for that is because they've not actually planned about what they're actually wanting. They've not actually set the targets of what they want or the goals that they want. They've not thought about what they want, so they just start off on a ladder and they end up realizing it's like, I'm going to have to shim it to the next wall.
Yeah.
And that's a lot more difficult than actually, but you shouldn't get paralysis analysis. You shouldn't actually get caught up in the detail, like what we're saying, and the small tasks. And that's the key here. So it's actually prioritizing what's more important to you and what you should do now in order to get the result that you want at the end. Now, a classic example about this is we've just pre-recorded the autumn show for a state agency, selling in autumn. Now, we're nearly at the end of the month. Autumn officially starts on the 1st of September, but that's planning.
Yeah,
that's
we've done it ahead of time. Yeah,
that's prioritizing, because it's like, I'm not going to get to the 1st of September and go, oh my God, it's autumn. And then I'll have to do it. And then I'll have to have to rush to get everything on. So this is about organizing, planning, and then prioritizing what's important. Yeah, I've got to do a contract for somebody for employment just before I leave because I'm going away on annual leave this afternoon. So contract employment gets done just now, and I'll send it over to them, and then that'll be that for the next 4 or 5 days. Yeah, but if I left it to the last minute and then did it when I came back, it's like, flipping heck. And then he has to think about it or go over all the details. And then it's meant to be starting on the 9th of September. It's like, I'm leaving it. Yeah, you can see the critical path analysis coming here. So for anybody that doesn't understand critical path analysis, it's like, what has to happen definitely now in order to allow everything else to follow from it?
Yeah.
That's key. Because you don't put the cake in the oven before you've actually put the ingredients in the tin.
Yeah.
And you have to put the ingredients for the cake in a certain procedure in order to make it work. And then you have to do things like, for example, baking bread and getting it to rise. You have to then put it together, but you have to put the yeast in, and then you have to sit and cure it or whatever it is you do, to make it rise in order before you put it in there. So you have to do all that in advance to get it. You can't just say, I'm going to make cake. I'm going to make a loaf of bread now and put it in the oven. That's not possible.
It needs time to rise
for that to go and rise, and not everything else to happen in that process. So that's what critical path analysis is at a fundamental, basic level. And then what can you do at the same time in critical path analysis as the critical points? So you're identifying the critical points in the process and the timeline, and it tells you they're all the critical points in the timeline. These are all the things that aren't critical, and they can actually be done at the same time in between. So then you've worked out your full timeline in the critical path analysis, exactly how long this project should take you, and then everything else you get done in between that time at the same time as the critical path that you've got to do, the one after the other, to make it work. And that's how you bring it down to the efficiency and improve your strategy overall. So when I went to buy a property, what I used to do and what I still do is when I buy the property and it's empty, I then conclude missives as quick as possible on the principle that I can get in and start the refurb straight away when they still own the property.
But the legal side of things is done.
They're paying for it all. They're paying for the financing, by the way. They're subsidising me because I'm refurbing at the same time. But it just so happens at the same time, you're in at the back actually advertising it for rent for the day it's finished, because we know the critical path when it's finished. And that's the day of conclusion almost. So you can get the property refurbed, you can get the gas certificate done, you can get the electricity certificate done, you can get a tenant lined up for the day that you buy it, the move in.
Which then increases your occupancy rate. And,
I love printing money.
and that
it's pretty boring, but boring pays well.
Yeah,
just keep printing that money. Boring pays well every single time.
And when we talk about prioritizing and things as well, it always puts me in mind of, you talk about busy fools and people that don't prioritize and put the important things first and spend a lot of time doing the small things that really maybe are not relevant to what their end goal is or their purpose is. And a lot of people have fell foul to that.
I'll put my books in alphabetical order.
Yeah, and just do all these silly mundane things that don't. Yeah,
this is my SAS and my trust planning. So that's a T, or is it an S? And there's RST. So that one goes after that one. And then I've got the sales, and that's an SAST. Oh, that one goes in between. Wait there now. I could have offered on another house by that time. Could have bought another property in that time. I'd start and organise the books. Did the books really need organised? No, because it was comfortable. I like organising books. I'm an organiser.
Yeah.
Some people are like that. Look, I've organised all my tapes in alphabetical order.
And
for my videos. My videos. Look, people do that, don't they? It's like you go into their house and they used to have walls and walls of videos.
DVDs and
then you see them all like, there's all the A's, there's all the B's, there's all the C's. And it's like, what was the point of that? Oh, well, I can find anyone I want. How many can you watch at any one point in time? Oh, one. It's like, so that's it, really. And that is the point. It's like people will spend more time on just organising themselves. And I tell you what, stop organising other people's lives. That wastes your time, by the way. Unwanted advice. Make yourself more efficient by stop giving unwanted advice. to other people.
Yeah, as it's a waste of time. Think about your own purpose and your own the benefit to yourself. And time management is so important, and really spend it wisely. And it's so crucial to do that, and to help you work efficiently, basically, and what you are trying to achieve.
64,800 seconds
Yeah.
every single day. How do you use your time? Is it productive? Are you allocating the time? I tell you what, if we just changed time for money, everybody would be a bit more frugal about how they use their time, wouldn't they? If we just equated it to money, didn't we? Won't we? But because they've got an abundance of time, and time's not really valued by anybody. No one values time. The only way anybody values time, as I said before, is when you're on your deathbed and think, I wish I'd had more time.
Time, yeah.
It's the most valued commodity in the world. This is why I get really annoyed when people are late. It's like, I'll often just say, forget it. Don't bother. You had your chance. If you can't value my time, or even take the courtesy to phone me in advance and say, I'll be a couple of minutes, I'm just round the corner, like
Yeah.
what I do with my clients when I've got them. I mean, even if I'm like 100 yards from the property and I know I'm meant to be there for 11 and it hits 11 and I'm 100 yards just rolling up, I'm on the phone just before that to say that I'm just round the corner. And some people are
Yeah.
actually quite surprised when I get to the door and go, you were just round the corner.
It
I'm
wasn't just an
surprised you phoned me. Why did you need to phone me? And I went, because I value your time more than anything, because your time is the most precious commodity ever. No one will ever say, I tell you what, for another week of your life, I'll take a week of your life at the last week that you're about to live, and I'll take that week and I'll give you £1 million for that week. When you're there, by the way. I give £1 million right now, and you could live another week of your life and sort yourself out when you're there, or I'll give you £1 million for it. I don't think anybody would take that deal when they get there.
No.
I mean, if you're terminally ill, it's like, yeah, just
I
right,
was
go
just
on, go
yeah.
on. But do you know what I mean? Because people value their time more importantly,
Yeah.
and time management is extremely important when it comes down to that.
You just don't realize that.
It is crucial. It's like, so what are you doing with your time? How productive are you making it? This is why we're doing these videos. This is just all the heavy lifting for me.
And it's
It's
like
like for
people,
everybody.
people don't really understand or appreciate the worth that time is to them until it's too late.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And it'll always be.
Whereas I think to myself all the time, excuse the pun, all the time. Whereas I think every time about what am I trying to achieve, and is it a worthy cause, and do I want to pay the price that I'm about to pay to get what I'm wanting, and it means in time more than likely.
Yeah.
And if the answer to that is yes, then I'll go ahead and do it. If I would regret it later on, I know doing it. If the answer is no, then if I'm not going to regret it, then it's no worth anything. It's not worth my time. But stealing people's time is not the. I mean, I'm really up on that about people stealing other people's time. It's the most important thing ever that you've ever got. This is where technology comes into play, though, and how you can utilize technology. Is that exactly what we're doing here? TikTok's running on the mobile. I've got we're streaming over 8 different channels just now on in our broadcasting system, and then that'll go on, and then we'll do other events on the back of that will make more productive use and leverage our position in terms of exposure to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Ideally, though, this is just nuts and bolts stuff for the generations as I plan to put all my assets into trust, and it'll pass generational wealth down to my kids, my grandkids, great grandkids, great grandkids, and everybody else by the time I'm popped to a clogs and off this planet. And this will be timeless content that they can understand. And because from my perspective, because remember, if a broke person can't teach another person to be rich. If somebody's poor, they can't teach you to be rich. They can give you advice, but if that advice was any good, they would have followed it themselves, and they'd be rich themselves. They'd be wealthy as a result of it. So that's the key here. The rich I talk about is income. It's income earned. So, anybody that's rich has got a high income, more likely is specialised in their industry as a result of what they do. or leverage their time by using other people's efforts to do that. That
Yeah.
tends to be where rich comes from. But they've not really got any wealth because they've not got any assets and they've not saved any money and no put any money aside. That tends to be the difference between the rich and the wealthy. Rich is nice, wealthy is better.
Yeah.
Wealthy will be rich anyway, but rich will never be wealthy.
No. No, there is a difference between rich and wealthy, and I think we've covered that in a previous show. Actually, you'll find that in the playlist. But you spoke about technology there, Jim, and obviously the modern kind of age that we live in, and thinking about making better use of your time and being more efficient and things. Technology could be such a big contributing factor to that if used correctly. I think, but we do all spend a lot of time using technology. So it's always good to be mindful of screen time and I mean we're guilty of it ourselves. The time you spend on your phone, you could be deviated from what you're actually trying to achieve by getting drawn in by technology and what's in your hand, basically your phone. It's such an amazing thing. It's such an amazing thing.
Let's look at a bare basic level, right? I'm going down to the big feast. I could take my camper van, which is a 1981 T25.
Yeah.
But I can also have another camper van, which is a new Ford camper van, right? All singing, all dancing. It's got better efficiency in petrol. It can go a better speed, and it's a lot more comfortable. Now, time is of the essence because I've got to get down there, and it's about a 7-hour travel, and I'm going to leave at 3:00, and I've got to get in that campsite, the trampers on my site, before 11, or that's it till the next day.
Right.
So I am taking the decision that the investment in hiring the camper van, the Ford Transit one, the converted one, is more important to get me there in a more speedily, quiet and relaxing way than my T25 1981 camper van, which is like a double-decker bus, or I'm really sure a tractor. It's like it's the old school stuff. It's great. It's nostalgic.
This is your VW.
Yeah, it's no a place you're going to take 700 miles and you're going to blast it at 70 mile an hour all the way down there. And that's not going to get me there on time, I don't think. That's the issue here. So that's why I invest in it. And that's the basic thing about technology. That is an up-to-date camper van versus effectively a 40-year-old camper van.
Yeah,
so that's where it'll make it a lot better. And then when you come to computers, I don't get run-of-the-mill computers. I get like £1,000 computers for the estate agents because I know they're going to be running programs like, for example, Rush, for example, Clap, for example, what else have we got? CapCut. We've got all these different things, and we're going to be running a lot of video, and we're going to do video editing on it. We're going to be looking at photographs in high resolution quality. We're going to be there at efficiency all the time. You're going to be wanting to send big files. You're going to be wanting to upload to WeTransfer to send files to each other. And when you think about the compounding effect of not having the right technology and the time that it takes to upload these files and have to wait on them to get done and re-engineer things and re-edit things and render stuff, that compounds over a year to quite a significant amount of time. And in that time, you could actually be out seeing more customers and listing more property, which is far better use of your resources than actually being an admin person. Now, you could use other resources. You can outsource as a result of that as well. And that's fine. And that then takes that pressure off of you. But then you've got a huge reliance on them. And plus the fact is, what you need in the moment might not be possible for that person because they've got a huge schedule of work they're needing to do and backlog that they've got to get involved in. Here's technology, how it works. What about technology, how it works just now? In the NHS, for example, people will be diagnosed quicker. But also technology has actually slowed things down because more people have to go through a certain procedure. The system they've adapted and adopted as a result of the NHS. So technology sometimes is a hindrance for the sake of it, because that's the way the system works. But you could make it streamlined to make it work more efficiently. I personally think I could sort out the NHS no bother. Genuinely. But the problem with the NHS is the people.
Yeah. The people that are running it.
It's the indoctrinated attitude, because the people that are running the NHS technically are people that are trained to be doctors and nurses. They're not technology people. They're not process driven. They're not systematic driven. They don't understand what needs to be done to speed things up, because they're not of that mindset. That's not how they're trained. So the problem with the NHS is technically the people that work in the NHS. They can solve people, they can cure people and all the rest of it. But the reason the NHS isn't as efficient as it should be is because of the poor use of technology. And all they're doing is relying on the salespeople from outside organisations to sell them a product that they think can solve their problem, when in actual fact, all it's really doing is creating more money for them.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's true what you say. It's about finding that right balance between technology and things as well. Like you said about the computers for agents. Do you know, invest that wee bit more in better technology so things work more efficiently, so then they could spend more time dealing with people in person. Do you know, having that balance, or even with your.
You'll
Sorry?
not remember this, but do you remember floppy disks 5 1/4?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
The 5 1/4
When I
ones,
was at school,
IBM.
yeah.
When I first started at Tillis Russell, the paper mill, years ago in the early 90s, I started there, and they had the XT IBMs with 5 1/4 floppy disks that you put in to
Right.
get programs on for spreadsheets. And I tell you what, it took bloody ages to upload these blooming things every single time when you put the floppy disks in. And it was just a green screen on a spreadsheet, and that's all you had to work on. And that was the XTs. And I went to my boss and I went, and we upgraded to a Windows 286 computer. I says, I can take Lotus, because Lotus was the spreadsheet at that time. It wasn't Excel. I can take Lotus 123. I could put everything onto Lotus, and I can put lookup tables to make this so efficient that I could take the workload down for everyone in the office. Now, he says, how much is that going to cost? And I went, well, you're going to cost about 20 grand investment. He went, oh, you're about booked. And he went, oh, we're no into that, spending all that money. I says, okay, let's look at it this way. Let me take the time that takes versus the time that it takes with a new computer. And I halved the amount of time it takes. And then I monetized that over every single person. And it came to something like £100,000 in a year. And what did he do? Let's get everything changed.
Yeah. And that's a great example.
Because he gave me one, but what he did was he gave me one 286 in the beginning to actually prove it. And I did the same with Balfours and Leaving as well. I did exactly the same with them as well. When I came in, they were doing the same thing. They were using all the old IBM 5 1/4 floppy disks. We went to the 3-inch or whatever it is floppy disk, 3.5 or something like that. But we had hard disks, we had Windows, we had Lotus 123, and I took all these spreadsheets with lookup tables, so you didn't need to type everything in all the time. As a result, I looked up the table, put in the formula, there's the result. And that's what I did every single time. And then they computerized all their department and upgraded all their systems as well. And then I even went to the point, it's like, do you know I have to walk downstairs to get a printout every single time I need a printout to the computer room? I says, can I not just get a Wi-Fi or a networked printer in my office?
Mm-hmm.
And he went, well, how much is that going to cost? And I went, it's going to cost you about 15 grand to do everybody. Oh, what? 15 grand? You could just, okay, let's look at it this way. How long does it take to walk down to get that computer printout at the office downstairs? Oh, well, yeah, probably about, 5 minutes? But that's nothing, he says. I says, but multiply that over 20 people. There's 100 minutes straight away just to get one printout for each person. 100 minutes. I says, then multiply that by how many times a day do they get printouts? About 6 times a day. Well, there's 600 minutes every day. I says, how many days of the year do they work? 247 times 600. There's 148,000 minutes a year. Divide that by 60. There's 2,470 hours. And then multiply that by £10 at that time. There's £25,000 a year. Buy the printers. Buy the printer straight away. Because I says, what happens if any of these printers are faulty? Or these printouts? They'll have to come upstairs. They'll have to print it all over again. And they'll have to walk back downstairs again. That's even worse if it doesn't print out properly. What happens if it's no there? Then they have to come up and look at their computer to see if it's there. Buy the printers. Buy the printers, Jim. Just get them. Just get them. Put them in.
And that's a prime example of streamlining processes and increasing productivity.
This is why this is why when we come on technology and we come on to the laser printers, it's like we've got brother laser printers, and everybody's going, I'm trying to get this fixed now. Hey, buy another laser printer. It's 150 quid. Throw the other one out. Oh, but it's 150. Do you know how long you've spent on that? You just need to spend, look at it, your time charged out is £50 an hour, effectively, when you think about it. That's 3 hours. If you fanny about with that laptop or that computer or whatever it is, or that, that laser printer or that technology, messing about, trying to get it to work for 3 hours, which you probably will, then you've lost your money.
Yeah.
And then you've still got to order a new laser. So for God's sake, throw it away and buy a new laser. But we've only had it a couple of months. I couldn't care less. Stop it. And the very fact that you've had that conversation with me has now cost me time as well. And I can be charged out at £4,000 an hour.
And people will be wondering at the moment, really?
Yeah, that's why people talk to me and they sit and they sort. I need to sell you something, see if I can save you some money on your utility bills. How much are you going to save me? 250 quid a year. I said, you've lost me that 250. Just actually phoning me up and talking to me on the phone now. You've lost me. What do you mean I've lost you? Because my time, I could have been doing something else which would generate more money.
Yeah.
Way more than the 250 quid that you just talked about. So I'll suck it up and take the 250 quid hit for the extra money on the utility bills, and that's fine with me. But if you want to talk to the accountancy department, who are charged at 50 quid an hour, they might consider it.
All your books, yeah.
Yeah. So I just divert everybody now. It's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. Because it's all about maximizing it with the technology and the organization and the planning and the prioritizing and the time management that you have overall.
Yeah. Yeah. These are all things that could really help you become so much more efficient in what you do. Let's have a wee talk about the advantages of actually improving your efficiency, because people could think, all right, I'll do all this, but how's it going to better for me? How is it going to be more advantageous to me and my goals or my purpose or whatever? And improving their efficiency to really have a profound advantage on them. And I think there's a lot of ways you could look at it in a business aspect and in a personal aspect as well. But I mean, ultimately, it always comes back to your time for me. But you can expect to kind of see benefits when you really focus on streamlining your tasks, as we've just explained there, and optimizing your workflow and how you approach things. Increasing your productivity, like you used that example there, Jim, in your previous employment back in earlier years. Increasing the productivity is really how you took that strategic approach to the normal workday and improved it and really enhanced the output and ultimately created better results with a lot less effort. And it maybe takes something that's a lot more process driven to really make that clear or point that out to people, as you've obviously done. And we're trying to obviously make people aware of how that could benefit them on this show today. Do you think it's a lot easier to get people on side when you actually demonstrate it to them like that in black and white, or put it in front of them? Because sometimes people can't see the wood for the trees.
No, I don't think so. Unless they've got a compelling reason to change, they'll not change.
Yeah.
So when people have compelling reasons to change, either pull by your dreams or push by your circumstances, then you'll do something about it, and then you'll increase your productivity. You'll start to look at new things, to new ways to do other things. You'll start to collaborate with people that you didn't want to collaborate with before. All of a sudden, they're the best buying beer. The best thing since sliced bread. You could come up with every single analogy going. If I could say. But you know what I mean? It's like, when you have a goal in mind, then you start to collaborate with other people. You start to be more productive in terms of what you're doing. But when you don't have a goal, then you kind of think to yourself, well, it's like a football pitch. You can aimlessly kick the ball around if you've got no goals to score.
Yeah. But
as soon as you put a set of goals in front of somebody, they immediately go for the score, don't they? They come back to it straight away, don't they? And that's the key. They immediately go for the score and immediately go to win overall as a result of what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's where the difference is.
Collaboration is so important, and working as a team and having that team around you where you all work together with the common goal in mind. And that's what you're all working towards.
Yeah.
Trying, as we said earlier, trying to make everything revolve around you as a single person can take its toll on you, and you'll never really get that far ahead. I think it's like if everything relies on one person's ability to perform, it can be a holdback or a setback in any kind of goals or things that you're trying to achieve, because you need other expertise, and you need other people that you could spread that. Like you say, Jim, your time is worth a lot more to you doing other things than
Yeah.
and so you outsource and you delegate things to other people, because I've got more worth to myself using my time doing other things. But you've got a team around you who do all the other things that are not so time worthy to you for you. And that's how you should really look at it, and collaborate and have a team. So yeah, increasing productivity and working as a team ultimately then frees up more time.
Yeah.
And that is the most important time. That is the most important thing, is time. And optimizing your efficiency can give you that more time in your schedule.
Yeah, look at the collaborations you go at the PIN meetings and stuff like that, the property investors networks,
Mhm.
and in terms of the collaborations you have with your investor groups as well,
Yeah.
and the people you associate with, it really is the case that your net worth is your network. It's
Mhm.
and vice versa. Your wealth is directly related to the number of people you actually speak to.
Yeah.
I think so anyway. Or your income will be directly related to the number of people you actually speak to and collaborate with as a result of that.
Yeah. The amount
And
of
the
conversations
more
and
people, the
interactions.
more people you collaborate with, and that's why collaboration is so important, and that's why improving your efficiency to be able to have the time to do that. See how we're coming back to time
Yeah.
every single moment. Everything revolves around time, but you can leverage your time and you can become more productive. Remember, I mentioned £4,000 an hour,
Mhm.
and it's like, really? It's like, how's that possible? It's because I have other people working with me as well.
Yeah.
So I've not got 168 hours in the week. I can have 1,000 hours. I mean, how many hours in the week do you think Jeff Bezos has? He's got thousands of people working for him. He's not just 168 hours in the week. His time is all the multiplication. Everybody else's hours that are involved in that. That's how much he's leveraged his time. And he makes the strategic decisions. I think he only makes I think it's something silly like I only make one decision a year. It's something like I remember him saying that on a podcast or something. I just make one decision a year, and he says that's all I'm here to do. That one decision every year. Apart from that, everybody else runs the business, does the job, and I trust them. The key is trust. I trust them to make the right decisions and better decisions than me. Richard Branson does the same.
Yeah.
Bezos does the same. Musk does the same. Musk's a bit of a dabbler, isn't he?
Mhm.
He likes to get his hand. He
You
likes
need
to get
to
his
get
sleeves
involved.
rolled up.
Yeah.
I think he's got a lot to learn still. I know that's daft because it's like, wait a minute, this guy's a billionaire, and you're what? I'm nowhere
But
near
when you
that.
look at in comparison to a lot
But
like successful
I
people.
do think he's either going to turn out to be the smartest guy ever, and and we just don't know it yet,
Mhm.
or it's going to be a you know a lesson where you're going to look back and think this guy could have been a hell of a lot more productive if he just stopped getting into fights,
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
he just seems to fight with people, and maybe that's a lot to do with the ketamine and stuff that he takes, because that's for people with depression.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he
That.
obviously has sleepless nights, and he obviously worries about things, and he obviously gets tied up in it, and that's why he's not got any real relationships with people we know of. Um, so I think that I think he would be a lot more productive if he got his act together and be a lot better at what he does and get a lot better results at being
Yeah.
a bit more organized, planning, prioritizing stuff like that. And he definitely uses technology to leverage
Oh,
position.
of course. Yeah.
And his advantages are definitely the collaboration. He does that. We know that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, he must have that time because he sits and does podcasts with people.
Mhm.
I mean, if you've not got that time, why would you be doing podcasts with people? So I think it's maybe just the illusion that we are given as a result of the social media presence that he
What
has,
is
and the
portrayed?
the picture that everybody wants to portray about him, like some way out person that's like just on a totally different planet mentally.
Hmm.
I think that's maybe the picture he wants to elude, like the
No,
disruptor.
there might be something very mastermindful behind all
Of
that.
course it is. Mastermind is a great word for Elon Musk,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Hmm.
A mastermind. And I think that's what he's trying to portray, some sort of completely superhuman person that no one's ever encountered, almost like what Gaga did. And almost,
And
all
he's
these
succeeding
different,
in doing it.
yeah,
He's succeeding in
that's
doing it.
it. So people remember him. So he's not
Yeah.
just he's just another Jeff
Another
Bezos.
businessman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, somebody it's a pioneer.
Hmm.
Somebody it doesn't take no for an answer. Somebody that's a bit wacky, but
Stands out to the crowd. Yeah.
yeah, eh, when you're when you're poor, you're classed as a loony. But when you're rich, you're classed as eccentric.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
very.
that's where Musk is. He's eccentric.
Yeah. Definitely. But then he's obviously went through all these processes that we've been talking about today, and I think when you start to implement those really improving and efficiency improving strategies and things as well, it brings you to a point where you start to really be I mean, you have to be originally, but it will obviously make you a better problem solver because you start
Yeah.
to see the bigger picture and you think, oh, so this, if I do this and I do this, I'm going to get this result a lot quicker, and and things start to fall into place a lot easier. And you
Let
start,
me give you a recent analogy there.
yeah,
We've done well, a recent example actually.
yeah,
What about the two properties that guy came to me and says, I'm thinking about, selling my two properties.
yeah,
Immediately I went to you and says, how much would I get for that rent? It's
yeah,
on at this to now. How much would it be realistically? How long's the tenancy be going? So we knew if we could increase the rent at all. He obviously says it, well, they're earning this amount, so they'll be able to afford it. And then immediately went to Audrey in my legal department and says,
yeah,
would it be easy to get this through? I went to Kessler about the mortgage and says, what would be the financing on this? And I had all the answers delivered with a team because I had built a team to make it super efficient and organized and plan it. So see how all that works? And
yeah,
it all brings into that overall picture and that collaboration between everybody, and having the right super team of people actually gets you the answer that you need. By the time, and this was literally within an hour or 2 hours, by the
mhm,
time he had mentioned that and I phoned him back, we had a deal done and I knew the numbers. And the rest is just a formality before that actually makes a fortune for me.
yeah,
So
yeah. The
that
rest is
tells me everything. And
boxes. Yeah,
if you have that sort of system and processes, in order to do that, you're absolutely right. This is what it does. It increases productivity, your leverage. It's a better collaboration between people as a result of that. It's the more free time because then I don't. It's like
yeah,
what I used to take a week or maybe 3 or 4 days to actually get a decision on now can be done in 3 or 4 hours at the very most. And that's been lazy, by the way. 3 or 4 hours.
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's a clear example of really like, and we'll round it up on this note for the show. But as you say, streamlining your processes to improve your efficiency and ultimately get more done. That's really what we're looking at today within efficiency improving strategies. Improving your efficiency can really positively impact your work and indeed your personal life because it gives you that time back.
Yeah.
You streamline as much tasks as you can, eliminate all those distractions, and finding the tools and the team and the strategy that work for you, you could really get more out of your time and ultimately achieve your goals or achieve your purpose and find your purpose, which is ultimately what you should be aiming to do. So yeah, I mean, experience and try different approaches by all means to get that right one that works for you. Because what works for one person might not always work for another. So the key is to find what works best for you. And once you do, stick with that. Like you say, Jim, once you've found something that works, stick with it. It might be boring, but boring pays well.
Yeah, I do think as well, probably one of the key indicators here is have a great mentor.
Yeah,
have somebody could actually, it's done it all before, and you could run it by and think, is this the right way I'm going, or have you tried? Because it's often, you've done this before in the early days, Richard, and I know a lot of agents do this, and I've had this feedback from them all the time. It's like every time I say something, you shoot me down in flames, and it's like, because I've done it. I've done it. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I know you want to be productive. I know you want to have great ideas. I know you want to think you want to change the world, but I've done it.
Yeah.
Just trust me. It does not work like that. Just follow the system. See what I
And
mean
with,
about human error and human
with a
people?
mentor as well, I think it's important. Be careful about who your mentors are. Are they actually successful in the field that you're interested or involved in? Is their advice going to actually help you get to where you're going to be? Definitely be careful of who
Never
you
a
take
truer
advice.
word said.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was really good advice here, Jim. And I think it's good to relate these kind of strategies and things to personal experience, which obviously you've given us today. So I think that was a really good kind of like example of how improving your efficiency could really help your ultimate end goal and your purpose. So
I imagine that. Yeah. I mean,
efficiency
now,
improvement strategies.
as I said, looking back, what used to take 4 days now can take 4 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy how you could
And
condense that.
in a world where somebody wants to get a deal done and you've got a motivated seller, definitely, you want to get that straight away. Or what's happened is time kills all deals. The next minute, it's like they're phoning everybody else, and now everybody else is in the picture.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. So if you can get a result and you know exactly your numbers, the rest is just a foregone conclusion to success.
Mm-hmm.
It's a guaranteed financial freedom blueprint.
Yeah. Yeah, and to condense something from that period of time into such a short period of time is that's the amazing and that's the result that you want, and that's how you want to better use your time.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Well, we'll round it up there today. Thanks for that, Jim. That was quite a good, some good insights there. Thanks to everybody who's watching. Anything you want to ask, jump in the comments and come to us anytime. We will be back Monday 12:30 for the Wealth Creation Show as usual, and I'll leave it there today. Thanks, Jim.